All right, all right, all right. Let's get it. Let's get it. Yo, yo, yo. What up, y'all? What up? Hopefully, y'all ready for this one. A lot of people have been waiting for this one. A lot of people have liked my previous live stream about hyenaism. So in this live stream, we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna talk about lionism, but I gotta change the avatar slightly for this one because I still believe the lion out there is king. There you go. I believe that. Okay. Now we could take this a step further, and eventually we will. Yeah. What's good, y'all? Wakanda. You gotta talk the king talk, right? So, hi. Hey, what's good, Mike? Good to see you in the building, family. Good to see you in the building. Yeah, you're right. 493 subscribers to go. Let's get it. Share my live streams, my uploads, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, help yours truly grow. I'm just a humble guy. So I'll be happy just getting 493 more people to stop by and, come check me out. So most definitely. Good to see you up in the building once again, Mike. For sure. Yeah, we're gonna go in though. I'm gonna get right to it and hopefully y'all are right to it as well. With your popcorn, nachos, hot dogs, and soda. And for you vegan lovers, make sure you got your vegan meals, whether you use a blender, whether you eat raw vegan, or you like the air fryer. Yeah, you might use your air fryer. That's cool too. Either way, we're about to go in. Yes, we are about to go in. All right. Without any further ado, no time wasted. I'm like the baby. Give me the beat, I get right in. You know what I'm saying? So let's go. So all right, so we're gonna oh, what you had, Mike? You said I just had meatloaf, potatoes, and peas. Hey, that's what's up. I ain't had meatloaf in a minute. So yeah, that sounds yeah. I could dig it. I could dig it. Yes indeed. All right, now we're gonna get in here and let me see something. See, I'm getting a better because I used to do a lot of displays on my screen. I used to share my screen. Like when I first started doing live streams, I actually used to share my screen a lot. But then I donated my laptop. Yes, I did. I donated my laptop. So I kind of downgraded to a tablet, but the tablet, I say it's a downgrade because you cannot share your screen with the Android tablets. At least I'm not able to with this particular tablet, but I'm gonna upgrade once again. And yeah, I'll still keep this tablet, but I need a laptop so I can share screens again. So my point is, as I get into the point that I'm about to talk to y'all about, I want to share the screen with y'all so bad, but I can't. So I'm gonna just start leaving like a lot of my references for those on the replay. Uh, my goal is more than likely going forward until I can share screens again. I might just leave some references for y'all in the comment section as a pinned comment because I don't want y'all to just take my word for it. Look it up for yourself. I mean, I'm unbiased. I speak very truthful. A lot of people resonate to what I say, but I still want you to know kind of like, yeah, I mean, I'm not really about resources, but I look up things sometimes, and so this could be something that you might be like, oh wow, I wasn't expecting you to really make such a deep interpretation from that source. So here we go. We're going to get into a source that kind of got me started with this whole idea of Lionism. Okay. And then we're going to actually talk about like what is like the definition of Lionism. Because if you have not seen my previous live stream about hyenaism, I highly encourage you to check that live stream out. I won't go over details of it. Just click the link. It's there in my live stream playlist. Actually, yeah, go to my playlist titled Live Streams from Yours Truly, and you'll see it there. hyenaism defined. Okay. But yeah, there was this link, went to what, Quora.com, saw something there. And if I could open it up, I could actually read it to y'all. Did it let me? Come on now. All right, let's see if see if I can get there for y'all. Okay. All right, now one aspect of Lionism, and this is without even talking about the definition yet, but just kind of giving y'all some ideas. Now, the topic of this link was from Quora.com, and it says, "What happens to the old male lion who are what happens to the old male lions who were thrown out from their pride by the young lions? How do they survive? Can old lions live in coalitions like the young ones sometimes do?" And of course, what they mean by that is, until the young ones get their pride, they sometimes have to, as young lions, they got to develop basically their bachelor prides just to kind of make it through and survive together. And, that's helpful, especially when y'all got to eat. So you don't have a pride, but y'all got each other and y'all all male lions. So yeah, y'all should be all right, you know. But here's the deal. Here's how it goes with the older male lion when he has nowhere to go. Unlike the younger lions who have nowhere to go, but they run into each other and they grow up together. Lone male lions, as it says in the article, and I don't want to read it exactly as what it says too much, not to bore y'all, and just not really to just be, I guess, just reading word for word. I don't want to do that. But in a nutshell, it says, a lot of lone male lions, like I said earlier, they form these bachelor groups, and they happen to run into each other and they get close together, and it helps when they're hunting the large game that they normally can't do alone for the most part. And keep in mind what I say when I say for the most part, keep that in mind. And y'all see how this ties together with Lionism, which I will be defining here in less than a couple of minutes. Yes, start your clock. So it says also going forward, it says even when older lions can find companions, um, and although life's not as easy when he's old, that doesn't necessarily mean an old lion is doomed to die a sad death. So sometimes he could probably find an older female lion that's just trying to make it on her own as well. But a lot of times male lions, they form alliances, get it? Um, just to survive, especially if they get kicked out or they just had no other way to grow. So with that said, that kind of gives you somewhat of an idea of Lionism, just sort of a broad perspective, because a lot of this plays a role in humanity when you see like the dynamics between the older and the younger. So this kind of where I'm coming from with this idea of Lionism. Look at it as more of a older, younger type of a situation, because it's pretty much kind of like with lions. They always want to. It's definitely more like a position, a ranking thing. You think like you're a young cub, you have no mane. You get older, you have a mane. You become the oldest, you have a darker mane. So there's always going to be a differentiation there. And I think to a certain extent, with a lot of military, they've studied animals, especially the male species, mammals, and they see that, hey, certain males, as they evolve, they start to look different as they start to grow. And so, in military, they call it like going up in ranks or growing in rank. Now, if you actually looked up lionism, it just means lion-like appearance of the skin or on the face. Now, they just say that because, and this is random, but somebody might have had leprosy back in the day, so they ended up having these lion-looking features. They somewhat say that about lionism, and that's from a British English encyclopedia, I guess. But also, this is also what Lionism means. It's the condition of being treated as a celebrity. Because, lions are once again what? Seen as king. And celebrities are the closest thing to royalty. Royalty, celebrity, very similar. Other things are sort of treated as royalty. I mean, you have elitism. Yes, you have elitism based on a lot of corporate elites that some would try to put themselves in that shoe of lionism too. I mean, one can say that as well, right? So hopefully I was able to make that clock in regards to how quick I'll come at y'all with a certain definition about lionism. But yeah, we're going to continue on. So I kind of want to jump back into that article just slightly more. Let me see if there's anything else I need to read. Looks like maybe not. But yeah, we will jump from there and we'll continue on with more that I want to explore with y'all, more that I want to chop up with y'all, if you will. What really inspired me was what I'm about to tell y'all next in regards to lionism, because I believe that's what we're seeing right now. Okay. Now, with what I'm saying is everything I just explained to you has nothing to do with tigers. Tigers don't live this type of life. They live a totally opposite type of life than a lion. And we're not talking about tigers today, but there might be some slight references just so you can get my dynamic on what I'm saying. And I would say, hey, this idea of tigerism might have to be explored. I said it first, but somebody might say, well, Ray hasn't talked about it yet. Maybe I'll explore it. Hey, just remember where you got it from. Okay. But here's the thing. Keep this in mind, y'all. Some of the older lions some of the older lions, they side with younger lions negatively. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind that some of the older lions side with younger lions negatively. And as you see, I highlighted my name. I didn't really do wordplay. I didn't do wordplay with my name tonight. I just kind of made it the color gold, lion color, why not? Kind of goes hand in hand, right? But here's a side note, but it still kind of ties in with everything that I'm saying so far as I'm sort of giving y'all a perspective about this lionism. Okay, as a side note, it's one thing. There's another thing to keep in mind. Like lions, they can hunt alone. Yes, lions, they can hunt alone. They can, and sometimes they do, especially the male lion because he's big enough. But they are more built to hunt in a group, or as we know of their group being called a pride. Tigers. Remember I said I'm gonna slightly talk about tigers, okay? Tigers can hunt in a group, and sometimes they do, but they are more built to hunt alone. I'll repeat that one more time. Lions can hunt alone, and sometimes they do, especially the male lion, but they are more built to hunt in a group, or AKA a pride. And tigers, they can hunt in a group, and sometimes they do, but they are more built to hunt alone. And yeah, we got a nice little troll bot. Don't know if you see that, Mike, but yeah, we got a nice little troll in the building. Gotta love it. But yeah, and that's the thing exactly. Jaguars, yes, they hunt alone, and there have been times some jaguars have hunted in a group too. It's more rare for jaguars to hunt in a group though, out of all of the big cats that are solitary. But sometimes they have been known to hunt in a group themselves. Very rare though. They have been also known to cooperate at times when they're at a water hole together. Kind of similar to what be happening in Africa, or like no, not Africa, because we're talking about solitary creatures, right? But I guess yeah, in Africa, leopards, okay, leopards, they've been known to be side by side from time to time, even though they hunt alone. But I was thinking more so about tigers because sometimes tigers they end up running into each other, and I just mentioned that earlier about how they do hunt in groups sometimes. But yeah, they occasionally run into each other without fighting, and they just want to have a drink of water, and then they'll go about their business. But uh, but yeah, check this out. Um, this idea though, like I said, there's so much to say about like mm, 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 this idea of lionizing. Now that's another word to add to this nomenclature, all the stuff that I'm bringing up right now. But let's look up lionizing. Like, what does lionizing mean? Because I just talked to y'all about Lionism, and like I said, look this up. You ain't got to take my word for it. But lionizing, okay? Now, lionizing is similar to Lionism. It's Lionism is just like, I would say, the act of you see the act or someone being treated as a celebrity, but like lionizing is actually treating someone like a celebrity. Like you really kind of put them on a pedestal or someone. Yeah, you kind of put that person on a pedestal. Like you really revere them. You really like no different than how you would treat a lion. Pretty much. That's lionizing. Okay. Now, what does this have to do with anything that I've been talking about? Here's where we go in and talk more on this topic of lionism. Does anybody remember what recently took place down in, y'all remember what took place in Southside Chicago, down there on O Block? What's still going on right now? And, shout out to Chicago, all of Chicago, South Side, West Side, and even North Side. There ain't no East Side to Chicago because, that's the lake, the lake shore. But I'm just saying. But yeah, shout out to Chicago. But uh, yeah, down on O Block, South Side Chicago. Well, this is what sparked me to really come up with this topic. At least it's one of the things that sparked me to come up with this topic of Lionism. What took place there in O Block was you just had a lot of the young guys. Um, they wanted to take over the block, take over O Block. Like all of the OGs of O Block, like a lot of the real shot callers of O Block, which is basically a section of Southside Chicago that's ran by uh, a street gang of the Black Disciples, and a lot of the big timers they got caught up, like they got locked up and stuff. So you had a few of the other guys around, but they weren't like really the big timers. The real, you had your OGs, and like they say, you got your triple OGs, right? The triple OGs got locked up, or some of them they got killed. But then you had just your OGs. Well, the young ones weren't trying to listen to the OGs. They listened to the triple OGs, but not really the OGs, right? So in essence, the young ones in O Block was like, "We're gonna run y'all off. We running O Block. The young ones running O Block." One second, y'all. All right, I'm back. Had to get some of that. Like I said, I said this last year, given the date of this live stream. You could sip on some haterade, or you could sip on that hate 2O. And I brought up the idea of hate 2O, so I'm sipping on that hate 2O, right? But yeah, but what happened in O Block basically is you got young cubs getting of age and wanting to take over the territory. this has already taken place down in Atlanta already. And the way a lot of these guys are in these environments, yeah, a lot of them operate like that. A lot of guys, a lot of young ones. I mean, what little baby he said in the song, he said, I'm from Atlanta where the young ones run it. And this is not something that's just he's saying that on radio. I mean, it's confirmed. I mean, I've been to Atlanta. I've seen it. I've seen how they run. And there's other places like, even in Kansas City, it's the young ones running it. Young ones are taking over all these neighborhoods, man. If you're just talking about, I guess, Black America, it's young ones. This it's not too many OGs. OGs getting shot up. OGs getting locked up. OGs getting caught up, right? So the young ones taking over. They feel like it's our time. Y'all not helping us, or y'all not keeping it real, or keeping it gangster, or whatever you want to call it. Because the real OGs, they gone. So these other guys, I guess, who not really quite the head honcho, but they sort of like over them with seniority. They like, nah, bro, we ain't listening to you. And so, like I said, these are the young lion cubs coming of age, and they want to take over that territory. And we sort of see a lot of this play out even in social media spaces. I sort of see some of this rhetoric across the manosphere, even though I don't consider myself part of the manosphere. I just know people and I associate with some people there because I do respect the manosphere for what it's supposed to represent and stand for. But, obviously things have changed and there's different types of manosphere. You got 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. You got probably 4.0 and 5.0, who knows, right? But you hear this rhetoric between the young and the old. And then of course you bring in the conversation of women. Well, that's also a challenge between the young and the old, amongst the men. Guys like, no, y'all was simping. We don't simp. We young dudes, we not simping like y'all. You got some of the old heads, right? They like, nah, y'all ain't got what it takes, young blood. You ain't got game like us. You ain't trying to learn this game. You got young ones like, no, your game is old game. You need this new game. And then you got some guys, especially some of the new guys, they like, well, I don't need the game. Then you got some of the old guys, they like, well, I've never had to need the game, but you want to call me a square. So it's all that dynamic going on. To me, this is all part of Lionism. How is it part of Lionism? Because it's still one having to have a say so within a certain territory. And I think it's one of one's philosophy of which one is more dominant in the space of the manosphere, right? And I guess even beyond the manosphere, just in popular culture, whose philosophies, whose way of living, whose ology, osophy, if you will, which one is the most dominant? People talk about having a dominant mindset. Well, to me, that's all Lionism. I mean, anytime you mention the word dominance, well, look no further than lions. That's what their life is about. The life is about dominance. Now, I tend to beat to a different drum. So really, I've never used the word dominance at my channel like that, but I get it. I get it why other people do, because that's the type of world that we live in. We live in a world where some people live that way. Just like, not every animal lives like a lion, not every animal lives like a tiger, etc. Hey, what's good, Queen? Good to see you up in the building. Good to see you up in the building. Yes, indeed. Always a blessing to have the ladies up in the building for sure. But let's continue on. Like I said, we see the Cubs taking over the territories. Like, you saw that in the old block, and they were shooting them dudes, them OGs in the old block. They ain't playing in Chicago. They shoot the old heads. If you're not a triple OG, if you're not the one that was really the head honcho of the gangs and the street corners, the real shot callers, they shooting you. Like they don't feel like you're not helping them move in the streets, or if you're not making a difference in the streets, they don't look up to you. They just shoot you right on sight. And that's like that in a lot of different cities where you saw the structure, but the feds came in. And this happened whether you ran a criminal organization or not. Because ultimately, and I'm not trying to get too deep in politics or nothing like that, but there's always been a certain organization that was infiltrated by the feds. I mean, even Black Panthers. So I'm just saying. But yeah, continuing on. This idea that with these young guys taking over these neighborhoods from these OGs, they want to be lionized based on them being able to take over their own neighborhood. And from there, they can take over any neighborhood because they feel like, hey, if I could take over my block, if I could take over my block, I could take over any block because my block is the toughest block out there. So if I could take over my own block, you best believe I'm coming after every other block. And a lot of this took place out in LA. How you think like with a lot of the Mexican gangs, how they started to take off? They started taking over each other's blocks and then they started taking over non-Mexican blocks. And now you see Mexican gangs, they're like the largest gang in LA and most of California. Now, I mean, there's still places where you could say some of the Mexican gangs could be outnumbered, but for the most part, Southern California, that's the Mexican flag all day long. And it's just simply based on this tactic of Lionism that I just brought up. You know, you see guys were able to kind of take over block by block. They started with their own block and they grew from there. And I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's kind of part of that mindset of Lionism. In some ways, corporate companies do the same thing and they swallow small companies. You got people out here right now who be like, look, they trying to take over and get rid of small business. Sounds to me like somebody's trying to take over somebody's territory, right? There you go. Another example of Lionism. That's definitely another example of Lionism. And I would say they want to be lionized. They want to be known as the number one, the most dominant one. Ain't that why Nelly made that song? I am number one. What does it take to be number one? Two is not a winner, and three, nobody remembers. He wanted to be the most dominant one. Get it? Another form of lionism brought by yours truly. Okay? But yeah, this all is no different than the way a lion actually behaves. Now, keep in mind, I've said this in my community tab about behave because I saw this from, I forget what video I saw not that long ago, but I was like, yo, that's dope. But behave, be, and you shall have. Hey, if you know, you got to be like this lion type of guy, and then you'll have everything that comes with being that type of guy. But to me, if you want to go there, you might be a lion, but you're lying. So there's a lot we could say about that too, right? People just fake and flexing. But see, also another word besides behave is beehive. But we're not gonna go there, right? We're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there. Okay. That's another link though I want to chop it up with y'all about. It's BBC News. Let me see what this has to say. And like I said, for those checking this out on the replay, I'll be putting this all in my comment section as a pinned comment. Even those listening to me in the chat right now, come back, I'd say a day or two from now, look in the replay, and then you'll see in the comment section, pinned comment of the links that I'm talking to y'all about now. So y'all can, you know, go word for word, check out what I looked up. You know, I don't want to come to y'all like I know everything. I mean, I know a lot, but I don't know everything, right? But a lot of what I know, um, it embodies a lot of different confirmations that you can look up for yourself. But this BBC article, okay, a lioness at a U.S. zoo has killed the father of her three cubs in their pen. An incident experts say is shocking and unprecedented. So basically, yeah, female lioness or a lioness. Let's just keep it a buck. A lioness killed a male lion. They said there had never been any unusual aggression between the pair before that attack last week. Well, it was all quiet. And she probably, I don't know, I didn't look too much more into the story as to what led her to killing him. But obviously it's more mental because I believe, I believe like with the male genome, whether human or animal, I believe it's similar. Men, they have more emotion than what has been put out here. And somehow that female lion was getting to his head. And to be honest, I think another issue is, and I know some ladies might not want to hear this, but he also only had only one female lion. Usually the male lion has more than one female lion, right? So he only had to deal with that one female lion. But in order to get along with her, he had to be quiet. He had to do his thing, just to coexist with her. And for whatever reason, he never wanted to kill her, given that she snapped on him. But he was able to let her get away with killing him. Kind of weird how that turns around. What would make him not want to kill her? And who knows, maybe the zookeepers train him not to go after her. That could be too. Because usually, a male lion, he's aggressive. He's going to have a certain testosterone. Male lions are built to fight. Okay. They are definitely built to fight. But for whatever reason, he backed off. And for all I know, here's the most wicked thing, right? What if they declawed him? What if zookeepers defanged him? Like he had no fangs, he had no claws, so he couldn't fight back. So she was able to get away with killing him. There's a lot of things, and this reminds me of the way a lot of men have to go through things in society, and how, and I'm not condoning anything, but he can't put his hands on a chick if she put her hands on him. He can't really yell at her and say vulgar things, even though she can say things and spit on his face and throw dog poop on him. Like I saw that chick in New York. She had a dog pooping on the side of the sidewalk, and the man walked up to her, told her, "Hey man, come on now, you got to pick that up, throw that away, be respectful. You letting your dog do that on the sidewalk." And then she got mad, threw the poop on the dude, and he ain't supposed to do nothing, right? So you got that. To me, that's like a way of a man literally being defanged and being declawed. Just saying. So there's like this reversal of like lionism, and what lionism could embody. Like the man in this society, can he really be the lion? Can he really be lionized? Can he really be the lion type? Can a man really be that way? Can he only just be all muscles? Because that's kind of like what it is. A lot of gals, they get off on a dude just having nice muscles. I get that. But do you want what comes with those muscles, sweetie? What if he's a little aggressive? Not to say he's abusive, but he just got a lot of testosterone built up. I mean, it's funny, they say they want the bad boy type, but I realize that's just a fantasy for most of them. That's not a reality for most of them. Meaning that for the long run, nah, you don't want to be around a guy like that. Short term, yeah, yeah, oh yeah, I want to have all kind of fun. But see, usually the guy with muscles that it's not the bad boy type, he's a certain way all year round. He's an all arounder, if you will. And she's like, no, I can't deal with that. I can't deal with a guy who, I guess he might call himself an alpha male type. He may not be a bad boy type, but he's like an alpha male type. I ain't got time for all that all day. Some guy yelling at my face all the time. What, you roaring at me like a lion? But that's a side note. Let's talk about Generation Z. We are 34 minutes in, and I appreciate everybody checking this out, stopping by, even those checking this out on the replay. But my thing about Generation Z, I really believe that lionism is affecting some of them in one way and some in another way. As I told y'all, with this idea of that, you got the guys out there on old block taking over the block. Well, that's one way, because a lot of those guys that are trying to take over the block, there are a lot of Generation Z guys. You got a lot of guys that are like less than 14 years old, and they already know how to shoot a bullseye with a 357 Magnum. I kid you not. You got guys that they make fun of a lot of these guys. They think, oh, these guys are skinny, dusty dudes that don't know how to shoot guns. But how is it that they're still killing a lot of people? So you can't say that they can't shoot guns, okay? But I'm just saying, you got some guys that really, they out there doing what they do. But like I said, Generation Z, they going one way in that type of a dark, twisted way with Lionism. And let's talk about the other way with Generation Z. You got a lot of guys that just and gals. We could throw that in there too, because you got gals. Whew, that's gonna be another topic altogether with the gals, right? You only got so much time. I usually try to do these live streams in an hour or so. But let's just say this, keeping it short. Overall with Generation Z, keeping it unisex right now, you got a lot of people just kind of stepping away from a lot of different usual ways of coming up with wanting true leadership, aspiration, what they believe a guy should be like. This idea of a male being like an alpha type, a lot of that's being thrown out the window. A lot of what I know in my generation I grew up amongst in regards to like what is respected, what is looked up to, what is admired, what is even considered sexy. That has changed. You got a lot of chicks. I found it that some of them even like dudes with what they call a dad bod. I mean, you ain't got to be the most muscular guy. I mean, that's still cool. But you got some chicks that are like more traumatized by that. They're like, hey, a dad bod is cool. You know, like you got gals who don't care if the guy is not even in shape. She might like him on the heavy side. She might like him looking like a teddy bear. I mean, she might like him super skinny. She might like him short. See, there's all this stuff out there, like with what one might think, like, well, this is what women want. They want the guy that looks like, the real cut Chad and Tyrone. That's not necessarily true. See, oftentimes Chad and Tyrone himself, he's getting cheated on with a dude that looked like Jack Black. You know what I'm saying? Think about what Kanye West going through right now with Kim Kardashian and the dude that she with instead of Kanye. Come on now. So I'm just saying, like, people's perceptions is a little jacked up when they be out here in the spaces thinking that, the chicks just necessarily she wants a stud to ride off into the sunset with. Now that's not necessarily the case. Maybe she don't have to ride off into the sunset. She'll meet a dude that picked her up in a Tesla. Autopilot too. The car self drove to her and she rode off to the sunset like she was automated, you know, autonomously driven off into the sunset, you dig? Something like that, right? So it's a little different, everybody, people just got these different perceptions. So that's why I like Lionism to me now is kind of, I believe with what I've said prior about hyenaism, I see that increasing. But with Lionism, I see that becoming more blurred, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. I mean, what are y'all thoughts about Lionism going forward from this date of this live stream? What, 2022? It's January 2022. Y'all see Lionism becoming more blurred? Let me know in the comment section below. Feel free. But here's my thing, since I think I just kind of giving y'all my perspective in regards to Generation Z and Lionism, we'll talk about something else. Here's the thing. It's not really about the fact that there are 60% of black men that are childless, because they say that, right? They talk about 60% of black men don't have kids. It's deeper than that to me. To me, it's more universal than that. Think about the other 40% of that ratio of guys that have kids who are more likely not able to see, who are more than likely not able to give them a stable home. My bad. Yeah, that other 40% of that ratio, the 40%, those guys who have kids, think about the fact that those guys probably can't even give those kids that they have a stable home. And to me, at this point, that's probably a 60% scenario. So to me, the probability of children growing up in a decent home with a black man is negative 40%. Think about that. Something to really think about. And you'll see how all this ties in with Lionism. I'll continue on. Now, in regards to single mothers, because I hear a lot about single mothers. Yeah, I heard a lot about single mothers out here. Um, let's turn up. Let's turn up. Let's talk about that. Not that a real man hates single mothers. I don't. I don't hate single mothers. Not at all. But here's my thing. It's not that one hates a single mother. It's more or less one hates one what comes with that. And I don't need to explain. I think one gets the idea of where I'm coming from with a lot of the ups and downs that a decent man. I'm not just talking about just any old Joe off the street. I'm talking about a decent man. One can't get mad that he hates what comes with a single mother if she's not really about what he's about, or she doesn't want to be about what he's about. And I'd say this, if that chick, if she lessens, if she decreases those type of disappointments, there wouldn't be any problem. There wouldn't be guys out here talking down on single mothers if there'd be this idea that, hey, whatever problems that we got going on, or whatever that. My thing is this, ladies. Only think about the man that's interested in you. Don't worry about what these other men are saying about your life and you as a single mother. Think about that man that's calling you right now, that's texting you, even while you're listening to me right now. Yes, I'm talking to you. Yeah, you, sweetie, whoever you are, I'm talking to you. You're listening to my live stream, but there's a man that's interested in you. He's interested in you right now, texting you, calling you, just trying to see how you're doing. Think about him and think about, I don't want to disappoint this man. I don't want him to see me as a stereotypical single mother. If you do that, no issues, because real men actually don't hate single mothers. It's not about the single mother part, it's what comes with that. So you think about what comes with that and think about that man that's interested in you, and you lessen whatever comes with that, no issues. It's really easy, but people make it difficult. What's good? Perfect timing. And you couldn't have showed up at a perfect time, at a better time. So good to see you back up in the building once again. But let's talk about this, because we're going to continue on with this. Keep in mind everything that I just said, because I'm going to hit y'all up with a bombshell here in a few minutes in regards to everything that I just said and how this all ties in with Lionism. But yeah, let's talk about something else while the clock ticks on that. From bitches to witches. Because remember, back in the day, it was about like, you couldn't call a chick a bitch. Now they don't mind being called a bitch. They actually love calling themselves a bitch. And now it's a step further. They call themselves witches. So it's about being a bitch and being a witch. And oh, they like this now. I'm a witch that sprinkles bitch dust. That's what they be talking about. I kid you not, man. They be saying this stuff. I'll be like, what? But see, I take it a step further. It's like this from my perspective. To me, it's actually from misses to bitches to witches. The Lion, the Witch in her wardrobe. The Chronicles of Tatiana. There you go. That's what's going on. You saw how I added the lion in there. Because why? I mean, nothing like a witch being able to control a lion. See? Oh yeah, you got some of the lesser feminine out there that still wants jacked up dude, like, physically, like, he looks like a stud. They want that kind of guy. They want that kind of guy still. But they want to control him. They want to control him. Hey, yeah, exactly, Mike. Yeah, we're gonna get more people in the building. A lot of what I be saying is pretty groundbreaking, ahead of its time. So people gonna catch up slowly but surely. But we're gonna I'm gonna keep putting out these live streams. They're gonna keep catching up, especially if they check out my archives for sure. But yeah, I always appreciate your support every time, fam. But with all that said, and remember what I said about all of the statistics about children, especially amongst the black man. Uh, Here's the $1 million question: is her baby daddy my brethren based on the laws of the Old Testament? Remember, I brought up single mother. I brought up the statistics of a child being brought up in a home with a black man, if you will, as their biological father, things like that. I brought all that up. And now you bring up, hey, I don't have an issue with the single mother as long as, she lessens what comes with that, the disappointments, the headaches, the ups and downs. But then the $1 million question: is her baby daddy my brethren based on the laws of the Old Testament? I'm not going to fully answer that question right now because that would mean I need to pull out scripture. I know the answers, but I don't have time to go over that right now. But what I will say is that one needs to keep that in mind. When you do have one and she has her kids, and you know that there's a guy around who's the father of he's the father of those kids, but he's not in the life of those kids. But I'm supposed to say that this guy is still my brethren. Now, the shorthand answer that I'm gonna give y'all is there is one biblical passage of when one had a brother, an actual brother that passed away, and he ended up, because back in those days, if you will, like you could take on a man's wife if he's your brother and he passed away, you could take his wife and take on the kids and stuff. Okay, so she wouldn't be out there by herself. That's the shorthand answer for y'all. That's all I'm gonna give y'all. Okay, but keep that in mind, everything that I just said, because one time I've talked about at this channel this idea of STC, which is sexually transmitted children. Okay, and I still got to do another upload because I've talked about it so far in I've talked about it in 2 installments about sexually transmitted children. But see, here's the thing. I believe single mothers should be even more humble than females without kids, given that a man does not even have to deal with her. But most aren't humble at all. They still think they have what a man wants, which is usually the V, right? When it should be about him having what she needs. And simply, it's love. Hey, what's good, Golden Child? Good to see you back up in the building. For sure, for sure. But yeah, it should be all about him having what she needs. And that's simply love because that's what she hasn't had. That's what she hasn't had. She thought she had it. She thought even at the time she could reciprocate it, but it was obviously not to the ideal individual. And as a result, you have these children that if you could go back and change some things, you probably would. Right? So love is definitely an important part of that equation that she is lacking. But see, it's not because that she's a single mother that a lot of this is the way it is. It's that she has the mindset of a single female as a mother. Like you're not supposed to have the mindset of a single female as a mother. See, keep that in mind. It's not about being a single mother. It's the issue of her having the mindset of a single female as a mother. That's the main problem right there, okay? Because keep this in mind, this is the bombshell about the whole lionism aspect to this. Because you get the lesser feminine like that, she has so much entitlement, even though if this was in the life of a real lion, her cubs would cease to exist right on the spot. them cubs would cease to exist. This idea of a single mother does not exist in lion culture. Okay, so we just want to take that out right now. This idea of a single mother does not exist in lion culture. Hey, what's good, cool gent? You already know. You already know. For sure. So this is why it's important. Like when we think of Lionism, and we even see like with young cubs wanting to take over the older lions, we see this because there's no order, there's no structure, there's no men, there's no male lions really keeping the order, or you just having kids walk a dark path. You know what I'm saying? You have them walking a dark path. And let's say you're walking the right path, but you got people trying to stunt your growth. Well, there should be enough men amongst you, amongst everybody, that there's never going to be a loss. There's never going to be a loss of masculine influence in that neighborhood, in that community. One man gets taken down, there's still several hundred men in that community. You can't just take them all down. So I believe that's what's lacking. There's just not enough real lions, real male lions, if you will, out there. You know, we're not talking about these hyenas that pose as lions. We're not talking about that. But at the same time, if we do want to stick on the topic of lions, we're not seeing enough lions that are mature, that are able to turn the community around. And that's why we call it the communita. What we think are real lions, they're weak. They're not really running the pride. They just have pride. They have too much pride to really actually know how to run a pride. And that's why we see things the way that they are right now as we speak. But let's continue on this, because I just said, with the female that has the mindset of being single as a mother, if she was a little lioness in that world of a lion, her cubs will cease to exist. Like, where's the father? You got these cubs, but no father. Well, these cubs are gonna have to go. Sorry, baby. These cubs are gonna have to go, because they should be having their father. Now, wolves are a little different, but we're not talking about wolves today, because wolves, they're a little different. Wolves actually take pups from other packs, and they raise those pups under them and under their culture. But we're not talking about wolves today, right? Okay. But I want to talk about this idea of polyandry. No one's talking about it, but I call it unaccepted polyandry, because that's what really happens. Polyandry. Now, we can talk about polygamy, polygyny, polyamory, but in this case, I'm talking about polyandry, which is a union that consists of a woman, if you will. And I'm just using general terms, because normally I use female woman logic at my channel, but just to generally speak right now, to keep things simple. Uh, Polyandry is a union that consists of a woman that has multiple husbands, okay, which is very rare. That really does not happen in society. But I have seen that become more commonplace in this day and age, especially with the single mother epidemic. And a lot of guys, unfortunately, we get in these predicaments even upon dating, if you will. And I mean that just because, I hate to say this, but I'm gonna be small because and that's no pun intended. But I'm gonna say this, like, I'm just being very nice with the numbers. But usually it's 2 out of every 5 chicks that you run into already has a child. Some guys will say, nah, man, ain't no 2 out of 5. It's like 3 to 4 out of 5 chicks I run into already got a child. So there you go. That's the unaccepted polyandry, because chances are you're going to still be the other guy. She's already got kids. You're the other guy. It's that simple. She's already got kids, so you're the other guy, because she already has kids by another guy. Unaccepted polyandry. So this is where the argument comes in, because now it's like, well, yeah, I mean, you already got kids with another dude. Like, what you need me around for? And then she'd be like, well, you trying to use it against me that I got kids by another man. It's like, well, yeah, you got kids by another man. Like, what do I get out of that? So yeah, there you go. But it's like very simple. Like I just broke it down that simply. But it always becomes this big argument. So it's like, okay, how can we compensate for this so that it doesn't become unaccepted polyandry? Because I don't want to be part of this. Not like that. No, like, oh, these kids, they're not my kids. So there has to be a way we can go about doing this a proper way. Now, if they don't have a fatherly figure because he's absent and he's actually not a part of the kid's life, and he's like, if she's a widow, okay, that's a major exception. Okay, she's a widow. We get that. But let's say he's truly by default separated from the kids. Like it'd have to be something very major for it to even be considered acceptable for you to even want to be a part of her life and be an influence to the kids. But I've always personally, this is me personally, so no one needs to take my advice. I'm not here giving advice. I've just always been more of, I don't mind being a role model to a kid, but I'm not going to be like the father type. Like I'll be the role model. But father figure, that's different. Okay, that's taking things a little further. I think kids do need actually more role models. I think they need that in this day and age. I think there's not enough of role models. There's not. Hey, it says it takes a village to raise a child. It didn't say it takes a father or a mother to raise a child. It said it takes a village to raise a child. So I'm just saying, hey, I'm not even the messenger. I'm just saying, okay? But let's go. Let's continue on. Unaccepted polyamory, because it goes back to this, polyamory thing. You got these other cubs. This whole idea of this aspect of Lionism. She's pushing on these cubs on you that aren't yours. And normally in the wild, them cubs got to go. You want to put your seed in the situation. These cubs, they'll never respect you. You want to put your seeds in it. These other seeds, no. There'd have to be a rare exception for these seeds to be a part of you. And there are rare exceptions. So I'm not overlooking that. Okay. Hey, we got another troll in the building. I could do something about it, but hey, y'all just look out for me. See a couple of trolls popping up. So uh but yeah, exactly, Kujin. We desire our own DNA, and that's the problem with a lot of the lineage out here. There's no pure DNA. DNA of absentee fathers and illegitimate mothers. Yes, I said it. Normally they try to say illegitimate fathers. I think it's reversed now. It's absentee fathers and illegitimate mothers. Okay? Because should it be, I guess, what absentee mothers and illegitimate fathers? I don't know. You tell me. Okay. But this idea of unaccepted polyamory, which uh let me see, because I said unaccepted polyandry, and then I guess I also had in mind unaccepted polyamory. I was thinking about this. So let me take a sip. Give me a second. Been chopping it up with y'all 59 minutes, but I'm gonna still talk to y'all for a little bit. I'm gonna talk to y'all. Uh who knows? I might, yeah, I got some of y'all coming up in the building even more. I'll talk to y'all for a little bit longer for sure. I'm not done. Give me a second. I'll get a sip for y'all. I'll get a sip since we at the 59-minute mark. Usually I shut out at an hour, but I'm not. I'm gonna talk to y'all for a little bit longer. Give me a couple of seconds. All right, all right, all right. I'm back. Um, so yeah, I explained unaccepted polyandry. Now, unaccepted polyamory, because polyamory does not really exist in the lion world either. Okay, just talking about other elements of lionism. So you mean to tell me you got a lioness that doesn't want to be part of the pride? She just wants to have as many male lions as she could have. I mean, she'll let the male lion do what he wants to do too, but she wants to also be able to just not stick with the pride. She wants to go wherever she wants to go, do whatever she wants to do, right? Don't sound like the way lions live, do it? Doesn't, right? But yeah, this happens in the human world more than often now, I guess. And it hasn't always been commonplace. So one can't argue with you about it because this is not something that is old. It's very new. Now, one can say this was like pioneered by the sexual revolution. One can say that, right? But yeah, unaccepted polyamory sometimes comes to play when she doesn't want to be fully committed emotionally because she knows at any given moment you can walk away. So oftentimes she tries to find a way out first, depending on the conflict. So yeah, she'll lay up with you, but she ain't gonna stay up with you or stay there with you. She basically wants to have fun with the biggest lion out there and let it be at that. There's no mating. There's no, as Kujint said, there's no building a legacy and a last name. There's none of that. She don't want that with you, but she likes that you're a buff looking lion there. She just wants to know what it's like to be dominated by such a lion, right? She wants that from you, but that's it because she thinks you're going to leave or put her to the side of the road. But no, lions don't think that way. They think about the legacy. They think about the kingdom. Okay. He's king, right? So when he's with that queen, a queen, when that king is with that queen, he's thinking about legacy. He's thinking about the last name. He's thinking about the DNA. You know, he's not thinking about just laying up just to lay up and no stay up. Or, let's just keep it a buck. Let's say there's no kids involved. He still ain't trying to leave you. A king stays true to the queen. That's just a lion thing. Now, of course, we can have this conversation about, well, what if she doesn't produce pups? I mean, what if she doesn't produce cubs? Well, that's why he has more than one female lion in the pride for that reason, just in case one isn't able to produce a litter with him. But the fact that he has her there is for the simple reason that as a whole, the lion pride, the more lions, the better you can hunt. You can catch bigger prey. That means the more everybody gets to eat. The more people you got in your team usually means the more people can eat. So simply put, if nothing else, if there's no babies to be made, she can at least help you bring food to the table. It's that simple. That's the mindset of a lion. So if you have a lesser feminine on the human side who's not even trying to help you bring food to the table, hey, she just only wanted to lay up with you and not stay up with you, like I said, whether there's kids involved or not. I want to hit home on that because a lot of people like to really bring it, they like to bring up just this main idea that, oh, it's about having kids. It's not always about the kids. What needs to happen before the kids? Y'all got to be connected. Y'all got to be willing to work together to bring more food to the table. Besides, that's only going to increase even more once y'all have kids in the first place. So why not have something established? Why not have something already established like that in the first place? See, people don't think about this stuff, and that's why I know a lot of people who They start having kids. They were never ready. They were never ready to have kids. I'd say this: when you start putting money into the situation, you start thinking you got to have enough money to do this, and you're not ready to have kids. It's not about the money. It's really not. I mean, you think, oh, they claim what it costs like $100,000 to take care of a child, something like that. I guess it's not really about the money. It's really about the mindset. But people don't talk about that though. People don't. Hey, I don't know nothing. I'm just a guy with barely over 500 subscribers. What do I know, right? Yeah, but yeah, but that type of chick with the unaccepted polyamory, she'll just want she don't mind if you do you. She gonna do her, and she's always looking for a way out. That's the kind of chick you don't want around, because that's not the way a lion thinks. A real male lion don't think that way. He laying up because he's trying to have you part of that pride, have you part of that kingdom. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all building something. I ain't laying up with you for no reason. You know, like this is supposed to be royal. You don't see what we got together as royal, then I know you ain't loyal. It's that simple. Now, we're gonna talk about this alpha thing, because alpha lion, that tends to kind of go hand in hand, right? And alpha, that does go with lion. Like lions display a lot of alpha characteristics. They do. It is what it is. But to me, alphas work with other men. Okay. I know some people at times see me as a sigma male, but I still use the word alpha a lot in a lot of cases at this channel, which makes me pretty much an enigma from my perspective, right? But yeah, alphas work with other men. 1 second. Yeah, alphas work with other men. So to me, I think when you see a lot of guys fall out, or you see a guy that has a tendency to fall out with other guys, there ain't much alpha about him. And that's not even calling him an alpha male. It's just saying that there's not a lot of alpha about him if you can't even work with other men. Okay, because that's an alpha characteristic, to be able to work with other men. Now, beta in beta is not bad. Okay, everybody has a little bit of beta, but I don't mean that in a bad way. Beta simply means you learn from other men. Okay, you follow other men, you look up to other men. There's men I look up to. There's men I learn from. Okay, that's a beta thing. Nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're talking alpha, it's like, okay, I can work with other men. I can do things with other men. We can collaborate. We can do this. That's alpha talk now. That's alpha talk. But see, I see alpha in a different way than a lot of people do. So I don't know. People still might be like, well, they'll beat their chest. Well, I'm an alpha male. I see it this way. Like, I'm not even talking about just being an alpha male. You just said it. I didn't. Okay. I'm just saying just alpha, just the word alpha. That's all I'm saying. My thing is that you might be a leader amongst your followers, but what about amongst other leaders? Okay. Exactly. You get it, Kujin. You get it. You get it. Why you think my avatar is a question mark now? Because that's the true emblem for an enigma. Sigma uses the sigma. Enigma uses the question mark. But no riddles. No riddles. No riddles. But yeah, where was I at? But yeah, how can someone? Because see, for me, alpha is leader. If you want to just think about the definition of alpha from my perspective, alpha means leader. Simple as that. You might be a leader amongst your followers, but are you a leader amongst other leaders? And a lot of guys cannot answer that question. No, they cannot. So that's one reason why I got the question mark. Like I said, no riddles. See, I think overall, they 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 actually just they're not really who they say they are. They're not who they say they are. See, overall, it's this. There are times when leaders have to like lead with each other. They call that being a co-leader. Look it up. They call that being a co-leader when two leaders are necessary. And no, I'm not talking about a 2-liter bottle. Not talking about drinking out of a 2-liter bottle. Okay. Now this ties right in with my final note. We still got some time. It's an hour and 10 minutes, and y'all been. I just appreciate y'all vibing with me. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody stopping by, even those checking this out on the replay. I didn't know how this one was going to turn out. I didn't really have a lot of time frame to work on getting this live stream kind of put together like I normally do, but I was like, hey, this one needs to be. We need to bring this one forth. Had a lot of people wanting me to talk about this, so here we go. You said, Cool Jen. They need to remember this. Every master has been a student to the lessons of life. Exactly. Exactly. Bingo. But yeah, my final note, like, what happens when you're a man amongst boys? Like, this with LeBron James, let's talk about this aspect of Lionism. When you're a man amongst boys, like, ain't that what they were calling LeBron James? He was like a man child. I was called a man child back in the day. I mean, I was like pretty much twice the height of a lot of my peers when I was I think I was like 12 years old. I was twice the height of my peers. Now, of course, some people had their growth spurts and they eventually outgrew me. But instead of me growing into a taller person, I became much more of a larger person per se. I mean, I'm still pretty tall. I'm 6'1", but I didn't become like 6'5" or 6'8". But I'm still like for my height and my type of weight, hey, I'm kind of what they call a pound for pound kind of guy. If we were in a boxing ring, I'd be considered a light heavyweight. If I really wanted to go that route, that's where I would be. But well, what happens like when you are that man child? I was once that. I was once that man amongst boys. That was me. Sometimes that also has you end up being a man amongst men, depending on the situation. So as you can imagine, yours truly, most of the fights that I've gotten into were with guys twice my age. That's how I had to grow up. I was getting beat up. I was having to fight dudes twice my age. That's how I grew up because I was like pretty much their size. Like, so at like 12, I was the same size as someone 16 to 17 years old. Like, and I was going head to head, toe to toe with them. At a young age, I'm fighting dudes twice my age. Bloody nose, black eye, but I'm keeping up with them. You know what I mean? That real lionism, like they was like, oh, he's a big cub. He ain't like your typical lion. He's a big boy. They saw me that way, but they try to break me down. But see, there was some other OGs coming up. They were like, yo, Ray's still growing. See, that's what y'all don't understand. You think you're getting away with beating him up now because he's younger, but he's still around your size, but he's still growing. You might want to leave Ray alone as he gets older. You might want to leave Ray alone. You said, Cool Jen. They also need to remember, especially ladies, that money isn't what makes a leader. That's facts. They don't get that, man. They don't get that. You know, money doesn't make the man. The man makes the money. You know what I mean? They don't get that, man. They don't get that. Mm-mm-mm. They don't get that. But yeah, man, it's like that's how it was. So why bring this up? Because there was one time this one National Geographic uh TV show that I saw, and it had this big lion. He was huge, abnormally huge, and he was so huge, and he still hadn't developed his mane, so you knew he was still a young lion because he hadn't had his full mane yet. And the older lions knew that, and they like, oh, he's big, but he's still young, so we still got to break him in. Forget that. No, he ain't gonna think because he's big that he's running this. We gonna teach him something. And they mauled him and they made him ostracized. And I don't know. I think last time I checked, he was doing okay. He ended up, growing his mane and proving his worth as a lion. Yeah, he was a force to be reckoned with. Oh yeah. But the thing was, they was like them older lions was jealous because they like this dude he's a big boy. No, we can't have him thinking he gonna run us, you know. So my point is that like depending on the situation, like yeah, you like I said, you'll end up like a man amongst men, coming up a certain way, and you're gonna have a lot of old heads trying to come at you and see. We're seeing a reversal. We're seeing the young cubs going after the old heads with this lionism. The young guys they want to take over. They want to take over. They ain't sparing no expense. They ain't looking up to nobody. They don't have that respect for you. A lot of young guys just don't have that respect. They don't. 1 second, y'all. Yeah, buddy. Got to clear my throat. Early in the year, kind of got to get your voice box kind of on par. With the weather and all that. It kind of affects you a little bit. But we hanging in there. So that's why I keep saying 1 second here and there. But still, we still vibing. We still doing what we do, right? But sometimes, yeah, you show up, even though the younger lion, you're a much larger lion than the older ones. And, you just got to deal with what comes with that. You got to deal with what comes with that and find a way to maneuver. Because otherwise, if you just trying to be around a certain crowd that's seeing you as a threat, they're jealous of you because of your potential. And, just like, wow, they see you as like, you that dude. You sometimes people hate how good you are. You got to be careful of that. In this type of world, some people hate how good you are. There's many times growing up where I knew a lot of young dudes that got shot at the basketball court just because he was a better basketball player. Because dudes saw that as like he has a better prospect of going somewhere in life. So you had dudes that'll shoot a dude like that. See, fortunately for me, I knew a lot of guys that kind of sheltered me from that. They kept me away from all that. They like, yo, be in school, get on the early bus, you know, we'll make sure that nobody messes with you going to the bus, getting them books. Don't be like us. Don't even come to the basketball court. Don't come to the hood basketball. Look, go play for the basketball team at your high school, bro. Like that's kind of what I was getting coming up because people knew like, yo, Ray is that dude. So they would not want me to get caught up in a situation where like, oh, someone see me as a threat, so they gonna try to, stop me from advancing or growing. Like we see a lot of young guys, like we see a lot of these young talents, like these young Pop Warner football kids, man, like some of the greatest wide receivers are at the cemetery right now, man. Like young guys, great potential. Man, they could have been a legend. And they gone, man. We never got a chance to see how great that lion was going to be. We never got a chance to see that, y'all, because somebody got jealous because they thought of him as a threat because he was a man amongst boys and he was even a man amongst them in his own little way. I see this all the time, like speaking of the football, for some of y'all that into football, I know young guys right now, because I guess I could have been a wide receiver. You know, I kind of went the route of running track and basketball and baseball instead. But I knew young guys that could juke a dude out his socks. We're talking about a 13-year-old dude juking a dude that's a sophomore in college, bro. He'll juke a dude out of his socks. A 14-year-old, 15-year-old can juke a dude out of his socks. That was a sophomore in college. Seen it. Know it can happen. You know, and these the type of young dudes that somebody in the neighborhood would be jealous of, whether it was an older guy that was jealous of him. Excuse me. Excuse me. It was either the older guy that was jealous of the young guy, or it was probably some guy around his age that was jealous. Because you got that too. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the rivalry amongst guys your age. Because sometimes you got that too. You know, the guy that you thought was your homeboy and he never was. That's why you got to peep the game. You got a lot of guys out here who are not your homeboys. And then I'd say this, because a lot of people have said this to me. You got a lot of guys who they gonna hate on you a certain way. They gonna end up turning on you. They gonna end up doing certain things and being a certain way. They were never your homeboy from day one. They just wanted to get in and see how they can get whatever they can get from you while they were around. That's all that was. They were never your homeboy, not from day one at all. See, they figured if we was talking lion talk, he'll help you. You know, establish your pride, find the females. Y'all go and hunt, get all the biggest animals y'all can hunt together, and then eventually he'll find a way to get you out that pride, kill you off, or get you kicked out the pride, because he found the way to woo the female lionesses. Yeah, he found the way to woo the lionesses behind your back, even though you was already making sure he ate too. You know how dudes be saying like, "Yo, when I eat, my homies eat," you know, but not for this guy. He didn't want that. He wanted it all for himself. He was just trying to get in the door with you, and then found the way to try to push you out of your own house that you shared with him, but he didn't want you in that house with him. That aspect of lionism, you know, trying to kick you out the pride. Like, you see that? But that happens a lot. It happens a lot. And the same thing occurs amongst lionesses when they are jealous of younger lionesses who could have a greater potential at mating. You see, with all the pick me arguments going on right now, the 304 arguments, the colorist arguments amongst a lot of the feminine going on right now. Should I go on? Should we continue on with the lists, with the divesting, with the swirling, with even the surgical conversations? You know, chicks that do surgeries. Um, you know, the body shaming. You got a lot going on, but this idea of the greater potential at mating, even this high value talk, you know, about how much money is it even, should I be better off an independent woman? Should I be a traditional woman, or should I remain modern? And then, yeah, going back to the older and the younger, because all this information is affecting the younger feminine. And if the older feminine aren't doing right by being the proper examples of what a lioness embodies, well, you're polluting the minds of the younger female cubs coming up. You're polluting their minds. You are. See, a lot of them like, well, you have to suffer like I suffered. I didn't score a king like that. So you're not going to score a king like that. She could have been very well had you part of the pride, had you part of the team. But no, the older ones, they're greedy. The ones that are selfish and didn't quite succeed in a certain area in regards to finding that male lion, they get very selfish and greedy, and oh, woe be to the younger lioness that comes up that got a better chance at finding that king, since I failed at getting one. But yeah, don't want to digress there. Definitely for another discussion. Just specifically talking about lionesses. But yeah, remember when I said earlier that some of the older lions side with the younger lions negatively? And yes, I appreciate that, Michael. I appreciate that a lot. I try my best, man. I try to live up to my name. Everybody loves Raymond. My real name is Raymond, by the way. But yeah, y'all could call me Ray too. Yeah, but hey, everybody loves Raymond, even the haters. Let's put that out there. You said, Kujin, the younger generation are ruthless. Facts. It's unfortunate, man. It really is. But it's like they just like we just doing what we doing what the old heads were doing. Y'all know better. You know how they always start off talking. So yeah, buddy. Yeah, man. Uh, but yeah, this is kind of what I mean by like some of the older Lions side with the younger Lions negativity. Because I tell you what, part of that whole O Block situation in Chicago, don't think that them young guns were acting on their own. They had some old heads kind of trying to help them out because maybe that old head had a problem with another old head. So I'm gonna get some youngins on you. That's how they talk. That's how it goes down. And even now, you got a lot of guys out here who should be acting their age, but they don't. And so you getting like young guys to do your dirty work, whether out in like the dark side of like I don't know, just non-violent things. It's hard to explain what I mean by this, but um how can I put this? And y'all can feel free to chime in. But I'd say this much, just with a lot of shenanigans, like even with the way guys wear their clothes, like, dude, you're like how old? And you're trying to look like you're how old and you're like wearing these tight pants. Like, come on, man. Like you can't be doing that. You're how old and you wearing this and you're wearing that. You're like trying to like side with the younger guys with how to look, how to act, how to be, how to even be around a woman. Like, like there's just a lot of things. And you got some old guys who they'll side with that. It's kind of like with music, it kind of, oh man. And so it trips me out every time because, I pay attention to hip hop still here and there. Um, you got some of the older rappers that be like, man, I don't trip off what the younger generation be talking about. Like, you got to get hip with the times. You can't be just so back in the old days with the way music is. You got to keep up with the times. But it's like, okay, well, what type of time is the new music on right now? That's my question. I'm not condemning, but nor am I condoning today's music. If it's not helping us, it's hurting us. That's my point. If it's not helping us, it's hurting us. So if we're not moving forward with music and with other things, what are the young really doing? Are the young really the future? Like we say this, like I grew up hearing this. The young people are the future. Okay, but what is that future? That's my question. What is that future? Because that affects lionism. So you talk about extinction. Let's say lions shall be extinct. To me, that always still is going to fall on the hands of the future of the next generation, one way or another. Because who's going to carry on? Yes, the previous generation, they screwed up. Yes, they did. But what are you going to do about it from here? Exactly, Queen. It's trash. It is. It is. And it's like, dang. Nas already said hip hop is dead. It's trash too. What are we gonna do about it? Can you collect from that trash and recycle some of it? That'd be what I'd be thinking about as a youth in regards to even music. Can we recycle it? What can we recycle from this trash? Because we have to. Now, what I mean by this, just so people don't misinterpret what I'm saying, people have thrown a lot of good things away too. Let's not just think of the bad stuff that, oh, ugh, that's disgusting. Throw that away. Blah. No, people have thrown a lot of good things away. They've wasted a lot of good plates, right? So a lot of the good stuff, a lot of the golden era, like you said, Queen Mercy, golden era rappers, Busta Rhymes, Nas, they should not have to come out of retirement, but they had to, just to be like, this is the way it should be. Y'all, hey, y'all not careful. I might have to get out here and record a little bit. I used to do a little rapping back in my day, a little bit, you know. But I say that's what's going on right now with this idea of Lionism, and hopefully, I kind of broke down a little bit. I'm pretty sure I could have went in more, but overall, just kind of without saying much, just to summarize, Lionism simply is just this. The whole idea of Lionism, simply put, is I think based on what Nelly said best. Just trying to be number one, and I can't say that's a good thing. I can't say that's a bad thing. But Lionism is about being number one. It's based on this dominance. It's based on you just have to be that one. And no matter what it takes, that's what you're going to do. What does it take to be number one? Who do I have to take to be number one? What do I have to take to be number one? see, see how you can really kind of make it out to be something else. So y'all saw with the thumbnail, like with Lionism, like a lot of times, yeah, it could be a bunch of young lions attacking the older lion. It could be that, you know, young guys going after the older guys, young gals going after the older gal, you know, not respecting the elderly woman of wisdom. But sometimes it could be the other way around. It could be older guys seeing an up and comer as a threat. It could be older gals kind of defeminizing a decent young gal that's just trying to be, you know, she's just trying to learn what it's like to be a woman. You know, she got put in a precious situation, if you will. We see that. Another aspect of Lionism. That, ooh, that precious situation. Oh my goodness. That was, woo. I couldn't even watch all that movie, Precious. I could not. That's definitely a good example of Lionism. I mean, whether you thought Precious was the prettiest thing or not, I don't care. I think her heart was innocent and she was just in a bad situation to where she couldn't even bloom and blossom and be the type of woman she needed to be, you know. And we see that with a lot of the feminine, especially amongst the melanated. You see a lot of gals that are still innocent and yet they're robbed of that, not from a man, not from a man, but from a woman. And that's a deeper rabbit hole in regards to Lionism. Hopefully, this live made sense to some. Maybe this live did not make sense to others. But to the others that this live made sense to, feel free to hit that like button, especially those listening to this on the replay. If this is your first time coming to my channel and you like my type of content, you've probably checked it out. Whether my previous uploads or live streams and you like what you hear, well, have no fear. Definitely more in store. So make sure that you subscribe, share this live, check out my other content. Just go into my archives. You'll see my different playlists. They consist of a lot of different various topics. Go into the description section. You can find me on different platforms outside of YouTube. And if also, oh yeah, also in the description section, if you want to tip yours truly, you'll see that there too. No expectation on that, no obligation, just appreciation. Make sure you also hit that notification bell so that you get all of my uploads in real time. And I keep telling y'all, it's only getting better from here. No matter what it looks like, you just got to continue to walk by faith, not by sight. And to me, like, I'd say this as like a final thought in regards to Lionism. It should be similar to like Wakanda. But see, hey, what you see before you is not a lion, it's a panther. So I guess that's different, right? Just a little sidebar, just a little sidebar. But it should be, yeah, from the standpoint of being like a king. But see, I speak on this idea of Black Knight at this channel, but it's not really from the standpoint of like striving to be a king amongst a certain establishment that has led no one anywhere. It's led people astray. No, that's not what it's about. We're trying to turn a tide, bring things back into order. That's what it should be about. Because what we see right now really is this whole idea of lionism really more or less is people just going against nature, not just going against their nature, but going against nature. You're supposed to learn from nature. I call it biomimicry. We're supposed to be learning from nature. That's why I speak the way I do. That's why I bring you up with these animalistic titles. See, this idea of being human, we can really go there about being human. But animals actually teach us more about being human than we actually learn from our own idea of what human is. Hey, yeah, you already know. You already know, go to child. You already know. You already know. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, yeah, you already know we be cooking top notch, always ice cold with it. You already know. Hey, what's good? What's good, Cookie? What's good? Good to see you up in the building. Good to see you. Yeah, for sure. Definitely got to check out the replay. Yeah. But it's been a blessing to y'all. Uh, it's been a blessing for y'all to to be here. Like it's a blessing for me. That's what I meant to say. It's just a blessing to see y'all here. Like to see y'all supporting, and I'm humble. I really am. Very humble. And definitely another live stream coming up in a few days. And oh yeah, for the ladies, I might as well throw this out here. If y'all are not busy tomorrow afternoon, I don't know what y'all got going on. I might reset my live stream for tomorrow evening versus tomorrow afternoon, since if y'all got family and stuff like that, I get it. Gonna be kind of touching up on the virtuous woman. That kind of ties in with Lionism too. Gonna be kind of talking about the virtuous woman tomorrow, given the date of this live stream. Well, actually, you might as well say later on today because it's past midnight now. But yeah, we're gonna talk about virtuous woman. That ties in with Lionism, the way things should be. But y'all take it easy. And oh yeah, yeah, y'all feel free to chime in more. Let's see, Kujin, he said animals and insect know their nature natural better than us. Facts. That's true. That's true. It's crazy. And here we are, we can't even. Oh man, I don't even want to go there. I was gonna talk about airplanes and stuff like that. I don't even want to go there, man. Yeah, it's just we got a lot of engineering issues. But yeah, you got ants. They're just they're fascinating. Ants are fascinating, man. They're fascinating creatures. And I actually had an ant farm or an ant hill, if you will, like one of them little things in a little fish aquarium, but I made it more of a ant hill, if you will. And I used to see all the ants do their work. Oh, it was amazing. Like I like, man, these things are just fascinating. Like actually, I started like doing a lot of architecture because I used to watch ants and yes, termites, but I would never want to coexist with termites. I would never want to coexist with termites, but them some ooh, Them termites be building some cities too, though. And that's how we actually should be living, but we don't. Like Japan, they got it almost figured out. Like in Tokyo, they yeah, they got it almost figured out. 1 second. Yeah, they oh yeah, but also ladies, because I see y'all talking about the mate for life, and y'all like the way some of the animals mate. Like wolves. Actually, what I like about wolves and even some dogs too, I'll bring it. I'm more of a wolf guy than a dog guy, kind of. I'm more into the wolves than the dogs, but they are really emotional. Like about if the one that they're mating with, if they get separated, they get emotional. Like it really hurts them on a deep level if they lose the one that they were actually mating with. You know, and there's many stories I've checked out on that back in the day about wolves. They get really emotional. Oh yeah, but y'all take it easy, and we shall be back talking more on that virtuous woman thing. But we gonna talk about, it's gonna be under a different title. It's gonna be about enigmatic woman. So it's not gonna say virtuous woman, it's gonna say enigmatic woman. Okay, so that's what you're gonna see. And yeah, that's scheduled later on. But yeah, it actually ties in with Lionism so that people can see that I'm still on topic, with everything that I'm saying. Let me see. You said smart cookie. Switzerland has it figured out. I studied I studied geothermal technology from a guy from Switzerland. Oh, okay, okay, yeah, Switzerland, they off the chain. Swiss is off the chain. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, y'all take it easy. I'm gonna go on and get a few Z's in. You know what I mean? And we're gonna get right back at it here. So I'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks a million. Much love.